Welcome to Amateur Redneck Workshop. I'm Harold, and I'm making an introduction to the next video, although I don't know when I'll actually make the next video because I'm a little bit lazy and I'm sort of taking a week off, if you know what I mean. This past Sunday was the Steel Challenge, and I went there and everything started really good, and make a long story short, I wound up 12 seconds slower than the month before, you know, slower than last month. Everything went great until the last stage, and the range officer said I missed the clock plate to stop it, so that was a 30-second penalty. Well, we can live with that because you shoot each stage 5 times and throw away the worst score. That was definitely the worst score. But then I missed a plate on another string, and then on another string I had a magazine feed a whole bunch of rounds up through it at the same time and jammed the thing, and I had to swap magazines. So all in all, if I hadn't done better on the other areas, I would have been even worse off. So I lost 12 seconds. And then I always help them tear down everything. You know, we've got a little trailer that we pull behind a 4-wheeler, and we throw all the steel plates on it and haul them back to the storage shed. And usually we clean up one stage, the trailer's full, but then we haul it back to the shed, then go back to the next one. There was one group that was still, you know, still not through yet, and the guy that usually tears down was running that group, so he wasn't available to run the rig around to pick up stuff. So the head man was shooting the bull with somebody instead of driving the trailer over there, so I went and got him, and I told him, I said, I don't know how to start this 4-wheeler. He said, well, he said, we had to change it, modify it because something other burned out, you know. So he showed me how to crank it up. So I took it and I pulled the trailer around, and bang, I hit one fender on the awning that covers up all the stuff near that range, and bent the fender. So some guys reset the trailer over, and I go out another 15 feet and bang, smash the fender on the other side of the trailer. So now I'm banned from driving the trailer rig, which probably is a good idea. And you could just all around say that Sunday I was just total snake bit, you know. So anyway, what with the weather being hotter than normal, I've come out here and put in, some days I come out and put in a couple hours. But I get up in the morning, I go to my shooting club to practice, I come back, and if it's a Monday, I mow the lawn. I already got broke into that. The boss lady wants the lawn mowed every week, no matter what. So I do the lawn on Monday. And then Tuesday, she probably wants to go somewhere, and sometimes on Wednesday also. So when I get through with all that stuff, it's later in the day, and I don't want to come out here in the heat. Alright, so anyway, I'm still working slowly a little bit on the plasma cutter table. Today I'm putting the limit switches on it, and I put a drag chain on it. My 3D printed drag chain was horrible. I threw it away, bought one commercial, way better than mine, and so, you know, that's what we're going with. And I'm going to move the camera here and show you something. A year or two ago, I put that foam stuff up there thinking it would be a good enough ceiling insulation, and I taped the seams and the joints together with Harbor Freight duct tape, and there it hangs. It's still hanging, but less and less every day. This fall, when it gets cool, I'm going to rip all that junk out and spray foam in it. Maybe that'll do some good. It's hotter in the oven up there. I bet it's 130 up there. That's the drag chain installation there. Actually, I made my wires a little bit too long, but I ordered 2 lengths of the chain, so I just let them hang out over the edge. It don't matter if they're a little bit extra long. I'm not going to go to all the trouble of unhooking them and cutting them shorter and hooking them back up. I just added a little extra drag chain. Okay, so I've got the motors tuned, and they'll move pretty much dead on. As you can see from the pointer there, the edge of it's right on the 3-inch mark. And I'll give it a MDI command to go 18 inches, and I'll move the camera over for you to see where it winds up. Alright, let's zoom in on that. And get a little straighter on it so you can see the corner really good. As you can see, that's reading 21. 3 from 21 is 18. So we started on the 3-inch mark and we ended on the 21-inch mark. And that's the x-axis. The y-axis works just that good, and so does the z-axis. So all that's worked out. I've got another little change or two that's going to have to be done that I've already managed to come across, and I'll move the camera and show you that. I raised up the scissor lift under here to see just about, if the metal were down there, how close the torch would be. And of course the torch would be about 3 inches too high to cut the the metal. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to take this loose and slot up a plate to hold the torch to extend that down some. And I also need to take all these mounts and move them over a 1/4 of an inch, which will mean moving the motor over a 1/4 of an inch. And that way everything will clear the belt really good there. When this thing heads down, the bearing mounts touch the belt. They don't cause any noticeable big problem, but I'm sure it'll make it jerky in regular operation. Now I've got the limit switches installed. You see one here and there's one underneath over there. The X and Y limit switches, and Mach 4 reads them, but I don't know yet how to make it cause the thing to stop or to use them to home it. So I've got a lot of studying to do. I've been spending a lot of time online watching Mach 4 help videos and such. So back to it again, It's just one of those things. But I'll get there. After all, I didn't know how to calculate the motor tuning or anything till I got to looking. There's a little utility in Mach 4 that's supposed to calculate the motor tuning, but on my version here it won't run. You try to crank it up and you get an error message, fail, syntax error on compile. So I went online and found somebody that had a good easy formula, and you calculate it about 5 times. You calculate it and set the motor counts, and then you move it again and you recalculate, and about 4 or 5 times and you've got it dead on. So alright, enough of that. This is the limit switch that I use. It's just a little mechanical switch, and you push in, that changes the contact points, and it can be configured as normally closed or normally open. That's up to you. So what I did was I went through the common, this is the ground right here, and I hooked to the normally closed. So I came into one switch, out the ground, into the other switch, and out back to the controller, the little smart bob. And so now if either one of the switches gets activated, it stops the circuit, turns off the signal, and that way no matter which one you hit, you get a stop if it works. I hadn't yet figured out how to make it stop the stupid thing, but I'll get there. I've got miles to go yet to make everything just right, but I've got the limit switches working, and they will stop it if it tries to go out of limits or out of bounds or crash, whatever. I don't have limit switches on both ends of the travel. I don't have a limit switch on the Z-axis yet, but I'm thinking I'm going to put one there. It's just one of those things that haven't time to get to it yet. I spent all this time learning how to make the the limit switches actually react, you know, in Mark 4. It would tell me the switch opened and closed, but it didn't do anything. And I figured out finally that I had to go in and write a little script to go in the screen that would tell it to disable the stupid thing. So that seems like an awful lot of work by the user for the kind of money they charge for that. But who am I to say? You know, I guess compared to Haas, it's dirt cheap. So anyway, it's running that program, making that arc shape, and I'll move the camera and you can see that it's doing the job. Progress up now has been kind of slow because it takes me more or less a day to install 2 limit switches, and I've put 6 of them on there. They all ride on the gantry. There's one under here. This will stop the y-axis. One up here stops the x-axis. One behind here, move it where you can see where I'm pointing. One behind here stops the Z positive. One on the other side stops the Z negative. And then we go over to the other end of things there. And there's 2 more limit switches there. The X and Y limits, and they all run up against something like the frame or something to stop, except for just one. I'll show you him. That guy sticking up like a tombstone, that's the Y positive limit switch, and he's just what he says he is. He's a positive switch, and he stops it when he gets down there. So I can't go too far negative or too far positive without the thing shutting down. So I'm probably safe from wrecking it. And I guess what the heck, one more run through a screen of stuff here just to demonstrate it, and that'll be that. We'll go see what Bubba's doing then. Alright, so that's the shape that it's going to outline. You might wonder why I keep running this shape. Well, the others have to put X and Y 0 right in the middle of the screen there, and it's a nuisance. So we'll just run this one, and it's going to run inside the soft limits, and it's going to run inside the hard limits too, because these limit switches will stop it from getting out of bounds. Alright, I'm going to let you guys watch it from this side, because this way you get to see the Z-axis moving up and down and that sort of thing. I still got a lot to learn about this. I've read the manual a few times that came with it. It's a PDF, and fooled around with it some, and I'm reasonably certain that it'll run a plasma torch. You know, the plasma torch will just follow whatever the drawing is, and I'm sure it'll do that without any trouble. So now the torch order didn't hear yet, so we'll have to wait till he shows up, and I'll have to go ahead and build the little bed that goes down in there to hold the metal. Now that's where it comes to the end of that particular routine. Now it'll just start all over again and do the whole thing over and over. It's what it does. It runs that same shape over and over. So now it's time for me to clean up the garage and give some thought to what Bubba's up to. I'm sure you guys want a Bubba joke. Well, Ole and Sven decided since the weather was so good in Minnesota, it'd be a good time to take a road trip down and visit with Bubba. So they hit the road and they got on the interstate. That's where they planned to go to save time and get there quicker. And they'd only gone about 40 miles, and they saw a sign that said clean restrooms. So they cleaned 32 on the way down and 29 on the way home. Well, that's all, folks. Y'all try to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Leave a comment if you got something to say. And above all, remember, keep on keeping on. Bye now.